Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade, and we've got a packed show for you today. Doing things a little differently in the new year, so let's go. We've got some thoughts on all the Penny Hardaway sneaker news, this week's hottest drops that we actually like, Nike raising prices on Air Force Ones, and of course, we have this week's Hard Pass. Let's start some things off with some hot takes. Shout out to former Laker Montrezl Harrell. He recently returned to the Washington Wizards in some Nike Talk denim, which I guess is style nowadays, and a Daft Punk starter mask. It's that Kyle Kuzma effect, man. If you're teammates with him for more than one team, you start to dress like the Hypebeast Instagram account. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I guess. Looks like hockey is the next sport to get on board for the sneaker trend, which is hard to do if you've ever watched hockey or seen the Mighty Ducks once on a rainy day in gym class. I gotta say, these custom Panda Dunks and Jordan 1 skates are very cool, but I think we all know what the end game is. Yeezys. Not on the skates, but on the goalie's mask. The foam runners are basically masks on your feet. That's just the next step. Coachella is apparently happening in April, which is a little surprising, but okay. I haven't really paid attention since Hologram Tupac. Oh wait, Beyonce. Oh, all hell Beyonce. But hey, y'all be safe out there. I'm way more interested in this hypothetical lineup made by legendary Twitter account Americana at Brand Memes, however. While I'm glad the Silver Lake Happy and Sad Foot Clinic signs made it for both the Friday and Saturday shows, I'm mildly disappointed at the lack of kebab and ramen representation and the very low billing for Zanku chicken garlic sauce. Like, that's at least second on the marquee in my opinion. Also, where's the love for 134? Anyway, congrats to Michael Jordan on his return to the game of basketball. This time, he's dominating at the local LA Fitness while rocking the Air Jordan 9. Man, it's so good to see him back after all these years, and in Bulls colors too? What? Not gonna lie, I was fooled for like a half second before realizing it's probably just a bit. Is it wrong for me to think that MJ is so competitive that if he caught wind of like, say, John Starks talking trash, he would take that personally and take the first chartered plane out of Charlotte to find that LA Fitness? Tom Brady just announced the launch of his own athletic and casual apparel line titled What Else? Brady. I can't front. I took a look at the lineup and it's not bad in that middle-aged dude trying to look presentable at the gym kind of way. It's definitely not for the streets, but props to him for copying the most important lesson of any startup streetwear brand. Go to Google Docs, click on the drop-down box, find a font nobody really uses that much, and voila, you've got a logo. Yeezy Gap, engineered by Balenciaga, is happening. Whatever that means. I think everybody is assuming it means Balenciaga looks for Gap prices, but come on, haven't we always looked at some Balenciaga pieces and thought, well, I can get that same thing at Gap or Old Navy for way cheaper? Kelsey Plum of the Las Vegas Aces better watch out if she keeps throwing these t-shirt bombs with her cannon arm. The New York Jets might come calling. Like, yo, look at those beautiful lefty throws. Not saying she can fling it like a Peyton Manning, but man, at least the form is way easier on the eyes. And before we move on to the Penny Hardaway news, I just want to give a quick thanks to the late John Madden. While he was a legendary coach and an even better commentator on television, it was his video games, especially the ones in the 90s and early 2000s, that resonated with us and gave us a love and respect for the sport that I don't think happens without them. My hope is that for Madden NFL 23, we get a proper retrospective of what John meant to all of us fans, and they bring the gameplay back to a simpler time when even those who didn't know how football was played could pick up a controller and play right away. Oh, and of course, he's on the cover. All right, let's talk about 2022 being the year of Penny Hardaway sneakers. It's not an official title or anything Nike is promoting, but the recent news of retros and collabs on the way sure makes it feel like 2022 is a bigger deal than usual for the former NBA All-Star and current coach of the Memphis Tigers. It started late last year when reports started to surface that a retro of the white and royal blue home colorway of the Nike Air Penny 1 was going to drop in 2022. If you ask co-writer, the real one, about a potential retro of the shoe he's been literally begging Nike to bring back for over 20 years now, he would say nothing else matters. But it's not just co-writer that's getting what he wants. Fans of the Orlando Air Penny 1 will be pleased to know that a retro of that colorway will also be dropping this year for the first time since 2011. And With official images of the grade school pair already online, a release could be imminent. There is also chatter that famed brand and frequent Nike collaborator Stussy will be working on a Nike Air Penny 2 and possibly a Nike Air Penny 5 as well. Like I said, there's a lot more buzz this year for the One Sit brand than there is in a typical year when we get a few new colorways of the Nike Air Foamposite 1 and maybe a half-hearted retro of the Penny 4. And you know what? It's about damn time Penny got his flowers in the sneaker world. Now, I'm not saying Hardaway's signature shoe line hasn't gotten its props from the diehard fan base, because it has. Remember the Soul Collector Penny Pack? That was one for the super fans who were in the shoe game from the jump. There are plenty of arguments out there, some valid and some hyperbolic, that the Penny lineup is second only to the untouchable Air Jordan. Not LeBron, not Kobe, not Iverson, not Curry, not Paul, Kyrie. Anyways, you get the idea. Penny holds a special place in the hearts of the 90s basketball fan and the millennial sneakerhead. But now, it's time for Penny's signature kicks to get their well-deserved flowers for the mainstream. There's a next level type of hype a collaboration with Stussy can bring, and you know what? Why stop there? Everybody remembers the Supreme Foamposites, right? As much as we here at Hard Pass get on that brand for having some of the laziest collabs out there, a second round of Supreme Foams would catch a lot of attention. Late last year, we talked about the significance of the Comme des Garçons foams that change up the shape of the shell and what that could mean for future iterations. While that release bombed because of the obscenely high retail price, and resale was already going for way less, I'm hoping that doesn't discourage Nike from letting others to get a chance to design their own foam shells. Imagine a Fragment design Foamposite, or if they want to keep it in-house, a Tinker Hatfield design Foamposite. That would be very interesting. Little Penny? He's also been popping up in apparel collections lately. I would not mind a new commercial featuring Big Penny and Little Penny with the returning Chris Rock to voice the character. Are you kidding?
I'm shooting basketball. Oh, that baby. I'm shooting basketball. Hey, Tyra, you left your toothbrush at my house.
And then there's the man himself and what he's been up to at the moment. Ever since Hardaway took over head coaching duties at Memphis, we have been in awe at how much Hardaway has transformed the program. Yeah, an NCAA berth would be nice for the school and all, but man, their gear is on point every time. Not on the level of a Jordan brand school like North Carolina yet, where the Jumpman is actually on the jersey, but if Hardaway can lead the Tigers back to prominence, it's only a matter of time. And if I'm co-writer, the first place I would be looking for any Penny retros this year would be on the feet of Hardaway himself or on his players. I'm only half kidding when I say he'll book a flight to Memphis with an N95 mask with the One Sit logo printed on it just to see the home Penny 1 retro. But enough about co-writer. I want to know what you think about 2022 being the One Sit's year in the comments down below. All right, it's the Heat Check, where we bring you the kicks that we like that are dropping this week. If we miss a pair that you actually like, let us know down in the comments below. We have the Nike Air Max Pre-Day Warm Core on January 18th for $160, the LeBron 9 South Coast on the 20th for $210, the New Balance 990 V5 Vegan on the 21st for $297, the Kamikaze 2 1996 All-Star Game on the 21st for $120, and then the Jordan 1 Dark Marina Blue on the 22nd for $170. And for our Yeezy of the week, we have the Adidas Yeezy 500 Blush on January 22nd for $200. Now, according to blindsgalore.com, don't lump the serene color of blush pink into your mindset of Barbie dolls, bright pink nail polish, or sugar sweet bubblegum. Blush pink is a soft, pale hue that is one of the happiest colors of nature that veers towards a neutral color to be styled for a natural and contemporary look. Think of blush as the insides of seashells, pale peonies and roses, and the graceful swirl of a morning sunrise. And then we have our pick of the week, the Reebok answer for the tunnel. This is on the 21st for $150. Allen Iverson's connections to Philadelphia are on full display here with this new colorway of the Answer 4. It's based on an iconic moment when AI rocked a personalized Eagles jersey in the tunnels of Staples Center. It's always going to be Staples for me, damn it, for game 1 of the NBA Finals. Of course, everybody remembers that game because it was the only defeat my 17-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers suffered during that 2001 playoffs. We ended up winning the next 4 games and repeating as champs, sure, but even I, as a Lakers fan, feel like Iverson, he won that year. And now, for a heat check on Nike raising the prices on a handful of classic silhouettes. Somewhere, Fat Joe should be getting paid because everybody is breaking out his yesterday's price mantra. Now, that's an NFT I would be on board with. Like, Joe should get a percentage of every meme that uses his phrase and then goes viral and is monetized. Highly specific, and it doesn't mean we at Hard Pass fully endorse NFTs, but pay the creators with your funny money, internet. Anyways, according to Nice Kicks, we're gonna be seeing some price jumps. Regular Nike Air Max 90s are going to go from $120 to $130. 97s are jumping from $170 to $175, and they were already too high in my opinion. But the one that has caught the ire of the community are the Nike Air Force One. Yep, those Dr. Dre approved white on whites are now going to be $100 after holding steady at $90 for the past several years. This has led to a lot of complaints online and plenty of lamenting on how much they used to cost. A fun little game you can play is to guess how old a sneakerhead is based on how much they remember paying for Air Force Ones. If it's $90, that's a Zoomer who just discovered sneakers for the first time on TikTok. If it's $74.99, it might be a Gen Zer from the 70s or late stage millennial from the early 80s. And if it's anything lower than that, it's time for an intervention, aka don't waste your Betty White years. RIP to a real one. Complaining about sneaker prices on social media, Grandpa. I don't like this development as much as the next person, but I'm actually surprised it took Nike this long to get Air Force Ones to triple digits. When you take into account inflation, demand, and the rising cost of living, not to mention a global pandemic that has screwed up the supply chain, this was always going to happen. Another thing that was always going to happen were people getting online to wax poetic about the old days, which makes me wonder if it's not really the price that's really bothering them, but something a little more existential. What has changed in the past 12 months are the availability of the classic white on whites. For reasons that are beyond my comprehension, the casuals, who were once all about the Fila dad shoe, have moved on to the Nike equivalent. Well, they move on to the Air Force Ones if they can't find Panda Dunks, but that's for another video. The result is this perverse market of old heads who need to re-up with a fresh pair every few weeks like Dr. Dre that end up competing with kids who thirst for social media approval by rocking the most basic sneaker out there. By the way, there's nothing wrong with wearing a basic sneaker. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But it is interesting that an Air Force One can cause this much hysteria. Hell, black Air Force Ones are even more basic than the white on whites, and they become the symbol of righteous vengeance and furious anger in the culture. It started when resellers got their West Coast Joe on and bought all the white Air Force Ones in stock and sold them for anywhere between $110 and $150 a pop. And because reasons, I guess, people are buying them up, thus encouraging the Joes to scoop even more Air Force Ones. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's dumb. It's all dumb. This is not a situation of Nike making enough pairs, pandemic or not. There will be white on whites in stores if you just have even the slightest bit of patience. It's the equivalent of that second week after the latest NBA 2K drops and you can't find them in stores. Instead of waiting a week for the next shipment of physical copies to show up on Target or GameStop or just buying it on digital, a bunch of marks will buy them for above retail. People, General Air Force Ones are not limited collabs. They are not made with the top of the line materials, and these don't drop every few years like OG Jordan colorways. These are the same shoes that Nelly was rapping about and Rasheed Wallace was wearing in spite of advancements in tech and comfort. Supply chain issues notwithstanding, Nike will always keep these in stock. This is not the same situation as an NBA player scrambling to find Kobe's in their size. Do not fall for the trap of paying even a dime above $90. Well, it's $100, but the point stands. Eventually, Nike will raise the price of Air Force Ones from $100 to $105 or $110, and people will log on to their Oculus headsets and complain about it in the metaverse and remember the good old days of paying $90. The question is, will that change happen later rather than sooner because we figured out these sneakers are as generic as it gets and we stopped fighting for them, or we started paying resellers $200 because Joes knew they could get away with it? Unlike a lot of things that are beyond our control, this one is kinda up to us, y'all. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below, of course. And for our final story of the day, it's time for this week's Hard Pass, where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go. So this week's Hard Pass has to do with all of us. Like, we just gotta get better, man. Look, This has nothing to do with greater society at large and how we're all locked in our tribes and don't ever want to have good faith discussions anymore. This is not about politics or the pandemic or anything else that's actually important. I'm talking about sneaker culture and the things in its orbit. I understand that there's always a new generation coming up and they have to experience a lot of the same things we did. But it's boring to me that we are having a lot of the same discussions and arguments that we had decades ago. Like, how are we 20 years in of Michael Jordan fans acting like MJ is Princess Peach and they have to rescue him every time Bowser, aka LeBron, I don't know, breathes and breaks a record? The Nike LeBron 9 Watch the Throne recently released, and other than the requisite post about it, there really wasn't that much energy behind the whole release. Meanwhile, everybody and their grandma acted like the Air Jordan 4 Red Thunder was going to be this culture-changing release when in reality it's a black and red pair of 4s that lack the charm and eye appeal of the playoff Red 4s or the Toro 4s. Now that it's out, you probably won't hear too much about it in the Sneaker of the Year conversations because it came out in January. I guarantee you that come December, you're going to see tweets like, "Oh, those came out this year?" Meanwhile, the LeBron 9 Watch the Throne was a freaking gift for Jay-Z and Kanye West. Only the two biggest artists of this century, not named Beyonce, Rihanna, or Hatsune Miku. I was right in the middle of this sneaker gig, already in 2011, and people were freaking out over the LeBrons that were, again, let me reiterate, made by Nike for Hove and Ye. Like, take LeBron out of the equation and just appreciate that these Nike kicks that were made for Hove and Ye actually released to the public. There are fans of Kanye who never got over him leaving Nike for Adidas. Shouldn't they be hyped up for this pair because it's the closest thing they've gotten to a Nike sneaker associated with a hero in several years? Yes, you're not getting the Gabriel Earth piece that came with their gifts, but look, you can whine and complain about that, or you can be like this inventive customizer who took matters into their own hands. Wow, that's the kind of content we need more of. Like, how cool was that? Instead of spending thousands of dollars on those CPFM Swarovski dunks, they just did it themselves. Sure, it takes a lot of hours, patience, know-how, and discipline to make it happen, but if I didn't have Butterfingers, I would be inspired to make something like that. I could start at making basketball Crocs. Laugh all you want, but it's certainly a lot cooler than smoke bombing your Dior ones. Yeah, they look great, bud. Sure they do. The late Virgil Abloh, rest in peace, in response to people who missed out on his MCA Air Force Ones, said the kids should go to Foot Locker, buy a general release pair, paint them the color they want, and find the same tag at the Home Depot. He wasn't saying that as some sort of deeper commentary on the simplicity of his creations. He was literally saying, you can do it too. That's the type of inspiring stuff we need to see more of online. Satire with the hype tags we featured a few weeks ago are what we as a culture need and deserve. We need to be less cynical and defensive and more progressive and inventive. Even I am guilty of the cynicism too, I'll admit it. But as a New Year's resolution, I'm gonna be here each and every week on Hard Pass, doing what we do with a little smile on our faces. All right. That's going to do it for the show. I want to thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I'm Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before we give you, the Hard Pass viewer, the chance to be a part of the show. I put up a phone number on my socials later this week, and I'm inviting you all to leave a voicemail stating what your Hard Pass would be this week. The number is 818-493-9325. Leave a short message, no more than 30 seconds, and you might be featured in a future episode. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.